Yo, what is up guys, Bobby87 King here, back again with another video, and in this video we're going to be doing a casting video of Total Drama Battle of the Eras, where if you know the show, The Challenge, obviously the 40th season is called Battle of the Eras, and I figure why not for the 10th season do a dream casting of Total Drama Battle of the Eras. Pretty much casting 5 people from each generation of Total Drama, making it a cast of 20. And yeah, let's just get started with who I casted. But before that, there really isn't any rules to this casting video. Honestly, the rough cast I did make had a lot more women than men, so I really had to trim this cast down a lot when it came down to the women. And to be honest, I didn't really make this like a heavy best of the best all-star cast. I just made it a cast of who I would want to see play again, so yeah, stay tuned for that. But let's just get started talking about Generation 1. And for Generation 1, the only people I really considered who didn't make the cast were people like Alejandro, Heather, to where I feel like their story arcs are kind of done. I feel like if you were to bring one of them back, you'd have to bring the other. And I didn't really want to bring Alejandro or Heather back, to be honest. To where, yeah, they just didn't make the cast. Lashana was on the cast until I realized that there was a lot more women than men, so I kind of had to replace it with someone else. And outside of that, there were people like a Harold, a Justin, who were kind of close, but just not really going to make the cast. Let's just go over who I did end up casting, and I did cast a love triangle, mainly just because I want to see them have a satisfying ending. Again, I'm not the biggest Courtney fan. I'm kind of slipping on both Duncan and Gwen as overall characters, but I would want to see them play again just to finally get an ending of their story overall, to where I think a nice ending conclusion would be nice for all 3 of them. And another person who I did cast who is kind of related to the love triangle as well, I did cast Trent. Mainly just because, same thing with the love triangle, I would love to see Trent actually get a proper ending to his story overall, and for him to be a very likable character once again. And if the writers don't want to do that, then, I mean, I guess we're going to get good drama, so at least there's that. And the final person from Era 1 who I did cast is DJ. Again, he did take over Lashana's spot, and I feel like, to be honest, they would have served the same purpose, to be honest, just being like the person who is like, wow, I'm on a team with all these lovebirds, so yeah, I figured DJ should be on the cast. Moving on to Generation 2, and to be honest, the only person who I really considered for the cast that didn't end up making it just due to the gender imbalance was Dakota. And I would have loved to see Dakota back again, but then again, like the whole Dakota Zoid thing, I don't know how they would have done it. But in my dream world, would she have been Dakota Zoid? No, but still, I feel like the other 3 women should have been on the cast more so than her. Let's talk about who was casted, starting off with the women, and I obviously did cast Jo. Jo is great at challenges. Jo is a great character. In my opinion, Jo, no matter who she's stuck with, she'll always be shining through. She's kind of like a Ripper in my opinion, to where if Ripper's on screen with the character, my eyes are on Ripper, and the same goes for Jo here. Obviously, I think Jo is a great character. One of my all-time favorite characters, low-keys, to where, yeah, Jo had to be on the cast. I also cast one of her rivals in Anne-Maria, and again, I would have loved to see Anne-Maria come back for All-Stars. It sucks that she wasn't on All-Stars, but I feel like on this cast for a Battle of the Era season, I feel like why not cast her? And the final woman who I did end up casting was Dawn, and again, Dawn is such a lovable character. One of my all-time favorite characters, to be honest, as well, to where I feel like her fan base definitely turned me off from actually liking Dawn, but I feel like rewatching Revenge of the Island made me really appreciate Dawn's character, and also made me really appreciate her dynamic with Scott. And again, I'm a massive Scott and Dawn shipper at this point. I really want them together, and I feel like casting Scott with people like Courtney, Duncan would also be interesting, and I also feel like his dynamic with Dawn could have also been dynamically explored, to where Dawn was able to clock some of his past traumatic experiences, so yeah, why not cast Scott? And the final person who I did end up casting was Brick, and obviously I'm a big Brick fan. I love Brick's character, and I think seeing Brick come back again with people like a Jo would be actually pretty interesting, so I obviously had to cast him. Now it's time for Era 3, and to be honest, the only people who I feel like people will say, oh, you should have casted them is Sean and Jasmine, and to be honest, I just feel like we saw what we are going to get from them. And to be honest, I don't think Sean would do well on any other Total Drama season outside of Cocktail Island, so there's that. And to be honest, for Jasmine, I would rather just see the other 2 women that I casted more than Jasmine. And obviously there was one woman who was instantly a lock, so yeah. And again, that lock on the cast was definitely Sky. Again, Sky's a pretty great character, a very underrated character, a very overhated character in my opinion, to where I would love to see Sky back again. Obviously I had to cast Sky with Dave. Again, their dynamic is very fun to watch. Rather they make up or don't, it will be entertaining regardless either way. The final 3 I did cast were 3 people who I feel like will have a very fun dynamic on the season, and that is Topher, Amy, and Sammy. And again, it's been confirmed that Sammy does have a small crush on Topher, and that's why when Amy and Sammy were wrestling, Amy says Topher thinks you're fat, which was obviously just going to be a dig at Sammy. And again, obviously we don't know how Topher feels about Sammy, to where I feel like their dynamic could easily be explored. Topher seems like the type of guy to be shallow and just go for Amy anyways, but I feel like Sammy could maybe pull him, but then again, I feel like Sammy could realize her worth and then be like, you know what, screw Topher, and then, you know, it'll be satisfying regardless either way. Again, I think Amy's a fun villain. I think Topher's a great character, and I feel like seeing him and Chris back again would be pretty fun to watch. And Sammy's just also really likable. So yeah, that is Era 3. Now moving on to my favorite generation, and to be honest, the only people who I actually just straight up didn't consider were Axel, Scary Girl, and the Hockey Bros. Main reason being I don't think they're going to provide that much on a return. And even though I really wanted to put him on the cast, I didn't put on Rippers just because, again, he's just going to be an early boot anyways on the cast. Again, I really wanted to cast people like a Damian or a Nichelle. I really wanted Nichelle on the cast. And again, she was on the cast. And again, was replaced by a male spot just because, again, I had a lot more women than men on the cast. So, yeah, let's just get started. Who I did cast, starting off with Julia. Again, Julia, star of the 2 reboot seasons. I feel like it's absolutely necessary to have Julia on this cast. And similar thing with Priya. Again, I do think that this cast is too stacked, or at least this team is too stacked in my opinion, to where having Julia and Priya does seem a bit overpowered, especially with the next person that I did cast. And again, with Priya, I did cast Caleb. Again, Priya and Caleb, great showmans, one of my all-time favorite total drama couples. That's not saying that much. I think most total drama couples end up being shit, but it's like, still, I think for now at least, they're definitely high in like A tier, or at least like low or high B tier. So yeah, there's that. And again, on the Julia hate train of who I casted, I had to cast Bowie. Again, I think Bowie's a great character. I think Bowie would be a very fun character on the season. And I think, once again, I think Bowie could do very well in the season. I think Bowie does well in most total drama seasons, though. So, yeah, Bowie was obviously an easy lock in the cast, my favorite character. And another one of my favorite comic relief characters, I had to cast Z. Again, I love Z. I think Z is a very wholesome, funny character. Definitely is the saving grace of the reboot season 2 in terms of a comedic standpoint, to where, yeah, I had to cast Z on this cast. And yeah, that is the overall cast. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I would really like if this season was season 10, but then again, I feel like if there is going to be a new season, I feel like they're just going to use reboot characters. But again, I feel like this cast is a lot better than the reboot cast, to where I feel like it would be interesting to see how some of these people would actually intermingle with each other. Again, maybe have like a different theme, obviously, but in my opinion, I do think that an Era season would be a good idea. But yeah, that's just me. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and yeah, peace out.